Edgar, go ahead and punch el multiview. Okay. William, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Let me do something here real quick so that way we can intro the show in 30
Just
seconds.
so you know, you're on my laptop. I really didn't have a headset, um,
Oh,
but you can
okay.
hear me fine.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect.
Usually, we do it so that way we get the best quality audio and video. Eso es lo que típicamente hacemos. So what we'll do is the first 10 to 15 minutes, we do a background. How you became mortgage broker? What were you doing? So it's a little like a little mini bio, and then after we'll talk about the business, the market, and usually it lasts about 45 minutes to 45 to 50 minutes, give it or take.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay, and I'm gonna cut it from here. Five. Oh, I need my. Do I need my glasses? Let me get my glasses. Hold on. Okay. So we'll do five, four, three, two, one. Welcome to Mortgage Talk Live for today. Today we have a special guest coming out of North Carolina, a friend from that we know from the mortgage industry, mortgage brokerage industry, and we're gonna present him right after this. Once we do the announcements, go ahead. Welcome to Mortgage Talk Live for Wednesday, October 28, 2020. And this is your host, Marvin Colon. And today we have a special guest here at Mortgage Talk Live. We're going to interview him. He's a mortgage broker, a highly successful mortgage broker out of North Carolina. And his name is William Caraballo. How you doing, William? How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good, Marvin, and you?
I'm doing excellent, excellent. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. How about you?
Remember, we are live, my friends, and everything can happen. So, so make sure that you know that ahead of time. This is being recorded, so you can watch it on the pre-show after in all the Morflix app, 24/7, Apple TV, Roku TV, Fire TV, tuning, iTunes, Apple's iTunes, everything. We're in about 16 apps, so you can go ahead and watch it and share it with your friends. So, how are you today, William?
And trying to finish this month strong. It's been
Excellent.
crazy the last couple of days, but we're doing it, man. We're doing it. And you?
I'm doing great. I'm taking trying to after COVID and everything. I finished the studio and we still have a few things to do here and work on some things, but another camera that I want to put in, maybe a monitor on the back, a better monitor. So working little by little, and on the mortgage side, I don't originate anymore. I have a group, and I have my business partner that she helps me a lot. I'm in charge of recruiting, training, and once they're done on that portion, she takes care of then once they are on the floor processing loans. So But
Great.
tell me about you. How let's take about a few minutes talking about how you became William. Uh, where you are now as a mortgage broker. What's your background? What's your a little bit of your bio?
Well, by trade and by school, I am actually an aircraft mechanic.
Okay.
I went to school, College of Aeronautics. After that, I specialized in hydraulics and pneumatics. And shortly after, I started working for Delta Airlines. And the unfortunate thing is 9/11 happened. And
Gotcha.
a lot of people in the airline industry lost their jobs, including myself. And when it was time to get back into the industry, what really sucked for me was that I was a rookie. So I was competing with jobs to get back into the airline industry with people that had 30, 40 years of experience. So it was tough. It was tough for me to get back in, competing for jobs. So I did what most people did and or do in a tough situation. And I went into retail, went into the corporate world, um, and been doing customer service and in the corporate world for over 18 years.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were in retail lending or just retail normal retail?
Normal retail. Right after I left the airlines, I did real estate for a really short period of time in New York City.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I was fairly young at the time. One thing I didn't like about real estate is that my paycheck as a realtor depended in a lot of people doing their jobs, the
Mm-hmm.
loan office, the appraisers. And in New York City, it's a little bit different. Transactions do not happen as quickly as we like them to. So I shortly left the real estate industry per se, but then I went into rentals, which move a lot quicker and commission was a lot faster. We were able to do a lot more units, renting apartments in New York City. Um, didn't like it much, and I started working for Best Buy. Worked
Okay.
for Best
Gotcha.
Buy for about 4 years. Moved myself up the ranks at Best Buy, and after that, I left Best Buy for another retail company. Worked for that retail company for about 12 years, and all the way up to a multi-unit manager. So I was a district manager for another big corporate retailer. And shortly after that, I left the retail world and became a mortgage broker. I mean, all I know is QC lending. All I know is to be a broker. I know a lot of people listening to this, especially other mortgage brokers, might have come from a retail world where they originated with a bank or a direct lender. I don't have that experience. All I know is QC lending. All I know is what the owner of the company, Doug Schaefer, has taught me and what I've learned being a broker.
Gotcha. Okay. So you started from as a mortgage broker from scratch. You didn't have like the experience of doing mortgage prior to that, or although you might doing real estate, a little bit of real estate or doing real estate, you know a little bit of what that loan officer, that particular loan officer was doing. And obviously doing loans in New York is a little bit difficult, as you know, as everybody knows. And
Difficult is an
yeah,
understatement.
because you had to
This
close with
was
the
before
attorney. It's very hard.
I started doing real estate in New York. That was before the crash. So, things were a lot different than they are now. They weren't as highly regulated. Kickbacks were a thing. So you had to, give a tip to the doorman in the big apartment buildings for them to let you in,
Wow.
to be able to get to the big luxury buildings. And it wasn't for me. I like to have a little bit more control of my income. At the time, like I said, I was, maybe 15, 16 years ago, had a different mentality, didn't have kids, didn't have a family. It was just me. So I was able to do it, but I didn't like it then. I have a different mentality now that I'm doing mortgages. But obviously that experience helped out a lot.
And what made you move from New York to you moved right away to North Carolina, or you were at a different place?
I moved to North Carolina in 2006.
Okay, so a
So
few years
I've
after.
been down since 2006. My girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, we've been together since high school, and she had a phenomenal job opportunity down here, and in New York, worked for a huge national retailer, and I was able to move with the job. So I was able to talk to the company I was working with and ask them for a transfer, and I made the transition from working at that retailer in New York to working as a retailer here. And uh, she was able to get a job with Sprint. There was a huge call center here for Sprint PCS, one of
Uh-huh.
the cell phone companies, and she was able to get a job here at the corporate office, and we kind of made that transition in 2006.
Gotcha. And what made you go to the mortgage brokerage business? What did it give you that the idea, or what did it give you the incentive to go to the mortgage brokerage business?
A friend of mine, I consider him a friend. He used to work for me at my previous job, and he quit working for me to become a mortgage broker and to become part of QC Lending. He started with QC Lending as well, and he tried to recruit me. He's like, man, we get a lot of leads. There are Latino leads, and knowing your work ethic, knowing your drive, I think you'll be phenomenal. So I was a little bit skeptical because I was making close to six figures. In a couple of years, I made a little bit over six figures because we were working for a profit sharing corporation. So the more money the company made, the more money we made.
Gotcha.
So he showed me a couple of paychecks, um, and told me, "Hey, man, if you make this transition, I guarantee you'll double what I'm making." And this is back when FHA streamlines were the thing. He's like, "Man, we closing anywhere from 15 to 20 loans in a month, and I'm making this kind of money." And I was skeptical at first, but he showed me a few paychecks, and I went took the classes, and I was still working, taking the classes, and got my license and jump shipped and made the transition from typical brick and mortar retail sales to the mortgage side.
Wow. And you took. I just imagine that you took only the 20 hour or the state exam or the national NMLS test, and you went right there to originate loans. Was it difficult for you to get adjusted the first 4, 5, 6 months to a different environment? And obviously your girlfriend was working, so you at least you had that support. But how was it at the beginning?
Financially, it wasn't bad. We prepped for the transition. We knew that this was going to be a 100% commission based um, um, career. So, the hours that you put in are directly connected to the amount of income you can have. So I knew that was going to happen. So going into it, it wasn't bad financially. Of course, Claudia, who by the way has now quit her full-time job and has transitioned to work with me, doing the mortgages. So she's actually works for QC Lending as well, mostly for my team. She
She got her
honestly, she
license.
was a big support. She was this big support. As far as the adjustment from doing retail to working as a mortgage broker, uh, overall is customer service, right? So
Yeah.
whether you work at Best Buy, if you work for the airlines, if you have those customer service skills, if you have that mentality that is there's no one above the client, um, something I applied and I trained my previous staff at my previous job. I took those things with me. I've had very few jobs. I'm 39 years old. I've had very few jobs. My resume is only 4 jobs, including QC lending. So I've only had 3 jobs prior to this. So a lot of the stuff I learned in other places, I was able to bring to the mortgage industry and be able to service my clients as I did in previous jobs.
Excellent, excellent, perfect. So the adjustment was pretty easy because you had the support, and you were prepared for you did prepare for the change and the transition. And you've been doing the brokering for since 2006, a little bit more, a little bit less.
No, no, I started doing mortgages August of 2016.
Oh, 13, okay,
So
16.
when I transferred down here with my previous job, I transferred in 2006, and in August of 2016, I left and
Okay.
started doing mortgages. So a little bit over 4 years, or going on 4 years. It's what as long as I've been doing mortgages.
And what do you think is the biggest challenge that you see around with client, with customers, and also with the wholesale lenders, our partners? What do you see in the other side? What do you see? Obviously, as brokers, we're definitely better, better rates, faster service. But what is the biggest challenge you see with your clients, at least in your area or your territory? What do you see around?
Well, the biggest challenge is really education, educating our client and educating our clients on the process, the expectations. For me as a mortgage broker, because it is such there's a shrinkage in margins with rates. It's almost like the race to the bottom. So you got to bring more to the table than just an interest rate. Whether you're bringing your service, whether you're bringing your being available to the client, whether you're bringing technology, turn times, speed, but more importantly, that communication piece. The biggest thing that I hear from clients that have gone through the process before or have gotten pre-approved and end up coming to me is communication.
Yeah.
Either the previous lender or the previous loan officer wasn't communicating, wasn't answering their calls, wasn't giving them the right information, was giving them confusing information, conflicting information. So, the biggest challenge I see sometimes is that some clients come already with their guards up because of previous experience, because someone didn't do their job correctly, or someone didn't set the right expectation, and it sucks, right? Because now I have to work twice as hard to gain that client's trust, to gain that client's um, willingness to work with me, because they already come with the guards up and ready to fight, because that's what they got from a previous experience. Same thing with a lot of realtors. A lot of realtors come with the preconceived notion that is us against them. It's
Hmm.
something I hear a lot, and with some of realtors that I work with was, oh, I got to protect my client. I got to protect my client, and I start feeling like a criminal. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
who are you protecting your client
But we're
from?
protecting the
I'm
clients as well. I
doing this
mean,
as smooth as you are. You
yeah,
know, so education is a big piece in what we do, because it's not as simple as just walking into the store and picking up a hot dog and walking out. It's a very complex transaction that
yeah,
that takes a lot of moving pieces to make it happen.
exactly. And right now, and let me ask you on the current situation, the current market that we are. Ever since, what do you notice starting this year? Obviously, with the situation with COVID-19, um, what do you notice that, like everybody else, that the market just exploded and a lot of refinances, a lot of purchases? How do you notice that, or what do you notice once this crazy year started? What do you notice in your market? What do you notice in your area and with your clients?
Well, there's definitely a huge refinance rush right now. I'm heavy on purchase.
Hmm.
95% of my business is purchase and referral business from realtors. So over the years, I've worked really hard to build up those relationships with a lot of the realtors and real estate partners. Um, so right now there's a huge rush. Absolutely. We just over the weekend, I got 6 different contracts. That's 6 different clients, 6 different realtors out there making offers. So yes, we do. I do get a lot of refinances, especially previous clients. Fortunate for me, I do have a small team of other loan officers that I work with.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that.
We
How do you split that workload? Do you have somebody concentrating on refinancing and you take care of the purchases? You mix it. You distribute leads. How do you take care of that?
Right. So we do. So like I said, I mostly do purchases. So whenever I get a previous client that calls me, I punt that refinance to someone in my team. Um, so I have 2 other loan officers, or actually 3 now, that work directly with me. So if I get one of those refinances, I'll turn that over to them and let them work the refinance while I still concentrate my efforts into the purchase business, because ultimately if the refinances dry up, those those realtors, if I ignore them, they they're gonna find someone else to service them,
Hmm.
right? If I don't answer that phone call, if I don't take care of that client, believe me, the realtor's not gonna sit around wait on me. they will find someone else that's going to service it. Therefore, I refuse to jump on the refinance bandwagon and kind of abandon the relationships and that business structure that has worked for me for quite a while. So
Gotcha.
it's it's a tough balance. Everybody's working longer hours, including myself. I'm working longer hours. I'm typically a late night person, not an early morning person. I know some people like waking up at 5 in the morning, 2 in the morning. It's not me. I prefer when everybody's waking up. I'm actually going to sleep. I work later hours, maybe 2, 3 in the morning sometimes. Just last night, I worked till almost 2:30. I was up at 8. So I have a different transition to how I work my day. But yeah, the workload is there. It definitely hasn't slowed down. Earlier when you mentioned, COVID, I'm in my mind is like, what's COVID? I
Yeah.
don't see it. I don't see what most people. Yes, we know it's happening. We see it in the news. We hear it in the news. But if you take COVID away, I think our market would have probably been slower than it is now. People are
Yeah.
upgrading homes. People are um, wanting to find more space.
Hmm.
The bigger homes are coming off the market a lot quicker
Yeah.
because people want more space because they're spending more time at home. They want to move their office to home. And here in Charlotte and surrounding, we're a huge financial hub. We have four of the biggest banks in the nation. We have Wells Fargo headquarters is here, Bank of America headquarters is here, Cardinal Financial headquarters is here, Movement Mortgage, BB&T, SunWest, SunTrust, which is now Truist. So, we are a huge financial hub. So we have a lot of people working from home, a lot of people.
Exactly. And let's say we have a viewer here at Morflix that wants to get into the mortgage business, but they don't know. I mean, yeah, they know they can get licensed, fairly quick. But what would you tell a new person, a new rookie, or somebody that wasn't in the mortgage business industry? What would you tell them to, for example, the majority of them wants to know how to get business? What would you suggest for them, or what would you tell them? Or what do you do to start collecting, bringing in business and bringing in volume and making connections? What did you did at the beginning?
Um, well, in the beginning, when I was reaching out to a lot of realtors and referral partners, well, let me tell you, the very beginning when I first started, we
Mhm.
were a huge refi shop. We did 99% of our business was refi. Like no one, I didn't start touching a purchase till like a year and a half after I became licensed. A lot of what we did was purchase. Refi. But when 2018 came and the rates changed and streamlines weren't there anymore and the rates weren't as low, I quickly had to turn that ship. Um, I have family, I have two daughters, my wife. My wife was still gainfully employed elsewhere at the time, but I had to turn that ship real quick. So I started getting involved in networking groups and um, talking to different realtors, going to different events, reaching out to friends and family in the area that if they knew any realtors. Because we could try to reinvent the wheel, but the reality is when a client thinks of buying a home, they're not thinking of the mortgage guy. They're not thinking of the bank. They're thinking of the realtor. And the faster you come to realize that that's the way the business is, unless you just want to go against the grain and start your own thing. Unfortunately, that's true. When a client thinks they're not thinking of me. They're thinking of the realtor. And the mentality for me and everyone else that we work is cater to the realtor. The realtor is my client. Yes, we know the buyer is the client, the buyer is buying.
Yeah.
That's the reason we all work. But ultimately, to me, the realtor is the client.
Yeah, the
Whatever they need,
the
whatever they
service
need.
level goes to pretty much goes to the realtor. So that way the realtor, the realtor definitely will bring you more clients and start that process of getting together and working more closely with you. So yeah, at least for the
And there's a
us.
question that I always ask
Uh-huh.
a realtor that I'm always meeting with, especially if they're a top producer. If you come across a realtor that is doing anywhere from over 25, 30 transactions a year, this person has a go-to. This person has a relationship with someone. So if I'm able to get someone on the phone, if I'm able to get someone on a lunch, coffee, whatever it is, invite them to my office. I show up at their office, whatever it is. I always ask them, hey, you've been doing this for a long time. Why have you considered meeting with me? It's not for the free lunch. They care less. If they're closing 30 transactions a year, they're making good money. They're not caring about a free lunch or
Uh-huh.
a
A
gift
cup of
basket or
coffee. Uh-huh.
cookies. They don't care. They're making plenty of money.
No.
I ask them, what is your guy or your
What?
girl doing that
Yeah. What do
you're
they
meeting with
care
me?
is when are we gonna close so I can get my commission check. The faster, the
Exactly.
better. That's pretty much
Yeah,
what
the
they care
faster
for.
the better. You know,
Mhm.
the faster the better. So that's always something I ask. Hey, you have someone you go to. Why are you meeting with me? What is this person not doing? And 90% of the time is not even closing deals because anyone could close a deal, is how efficient and the communication and the minimum amount of stress that it's going to take to close this transaction. And that's what I tell them I bring to the table. If you're finding yourself as a realtor, paper chasing a pay stub, bank statements, things of that nature, you don't have a loan officer as a partner. You just became an employee to that realtor, I mean, to that loan officer. If you're clearing conditions for the loan officer, chances are you just became an assistant to the loan officer. So you shouldn't. And that's something that, we have a team that clears conditions. My wife and I collect documents. We have a short video that we send out to our clients on how to use Scan so they don't have to go talk to the realtor or come to the office or find Kinko's. Hey, download this app, follow this quick video, and 90% of them figure out how to use the app and send me documents using CamScan, you know.
Excellent, excellent. And in talking about the service to the borrower, to the client, in terms of lender partners, who are you using right now the most? Who is your top three to top four? Who are you using the most? Because I know with this situation with the volume, the liquidity, and also obviously with COVID, the situation with COVID, lenders that were maybe at the beginning of the year my top lenders, now they're on the bottom of the list. Who are you using right now?
Well, I'm using a lot of UWM,
Gotcha.
RAM, Equity Prime,
Okay.
and as of lately, I started using Lenshore for some of the non-QM stuff and ACC.
Gotcha.
ACC has been a lifesaver to me as far as non-QM because even after COVID, they didn't stop.
Yeah.
So I was using Deep Haven. I was using some other lenders that, actually walked away from us, not
Hmm.
because they wanted to. There was some circumstances which they weren't able to fund loans, but they just turned off the switch. And ACC was one of those lenders that remained. They remained doing non-QM. They remained doing the I-10 and W-7 loans for those undocumented borrowers.
Uh-huh.
We do a lot of those loans, and they stuck around. Same thing with UWM. UWM's getting better, getting rid of some of those overlays, which is
Overlays.
awesome.
Uh-huh.
Price got a lot better with them as well. Remen,
Yeah,
also as well, they have
little by little,
phenomenal
UWN,
W2.
little by little, UWN is coming back. Yeah, and Bremen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
And for those that don't fit the UWM box, we have Remen. Remen has a phenomenal W2 platinum product,
hmm,
has been great, and we worked it. And in spite of um, popular opinion, Equity Prime mortgage has worked for me.
yeah.
It's a little bit tough to learn their system, to learn their way, but Equity Prime has worked for me. We've closed since I started working with them this year. We probably closed upwards of 20 to 25 loans. You know, um, Equity Prime took the brunt of some of the loans that other lenders weren't willing to close.
Hmm.
And are they taking long? Absolutely. Is it a mess? Yes. Do these loans get
Yeah,
messy? Yes. Do
and
they
I
have
know,
any other option? We don't.
personally, Eddie Perez, the owner, the CEO, is rebuilding it. Is my friend Jason Frazier went
Yeah.
to work over there, so they're rebuilding the operation, restructuring everything, hiring
Marvin, did you see
people.
that guy wear a tie?
Yeah, for the first time ever.
That guy
No,
was wearing a tie. I'm like, hey, what
yeah,
happened to
he's
the
making he's
hoodie and the
making
hat?
fun of himself.
Okay,
Yeah,
you.
shout out to my friend Jason Fraser from Mortgage X. But yeah, he was making fun. Yeah, no, but I know they're rebuilding the operation, and they're gonna be incredible. So I know Eddie and Jason and his entire team are rebuilding the Equity Prime empire, or Equity Prime, operation. So we'll see
No,
we'll see what happens.
they done a phenomenal job for us. It's definitely a learning curve. They do things a little bit different. Um, and we, after certain obstacles that we came across with Equity Prime, I call Carrie, who's been with the company for years, and I asked her, hey, I think there might be a learning curve for us because you guys do things a little bit different, and you guys are taking, loans that most lenders won't. What we need a little bit of training. Can you set something up? And within a week and a half, she was able to get three other people on the line. I got my whole team together in this very same room I'm sitting in right now,
Mhm.
and we went through a training on how to clear conditions and understanding. So, being a broker is not just about, hey, I'm the lender's client, so you serve me. There's got to be a happy medium, a
Yeah.
common ground where it works for everybody. It works for the lender, it works for us. We are nothing without the lenders, and the lenders are nothing without us. You
Hmm.
know, um,
It's a two-way
so we have
street.
to find that common ground.
Yeah, it's a two-way street where we depend on them, and like you said, they depend on us, and
Absolutely.
they had to perform to the best, because there, and that's one thing that I noticed back in 2000, between, I would say, 2014 and 16. There was no wholesale lenders around, absolutely nothing, maybe a few here and there. But ever since 14 or 15, 16, I started noticing the emails and the emails. Oh, new wholesale lender, new wholesale lender, new wholesale lender. So, and there's a lot of wholesale lenders now. Even during now, this year, with this situation with COVID, a lot of them remain. Maybe one, and maybe one here and there that had closed doors, but as far as I know, everybody's busy. Everybody is kind of sort of overwhelmed. Everybody is trying to get staff. They're a little bit understaffed, so they can keep up with this crazy volume that this year, not only this year, last year, this year, and supposedly it's gonna go down a little bit next year, but we'll see. But yeah, the turn times have increased to close the deal a little bit. Although lenders like UWN, you have your approval probably in hours, if not a day or two. So that's the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. UWM has set the bar so high that even when another lender comes close to come to it, they're too late, right? Because they already came up with something else, and
Yeah.
that's remarkable for a lender to be able to pivot like UWM has been able to. And a lot of other lenders have pivoted. The advantage that we have as mortgage brokers is that I have the ability to choose where I send my loans. And
Hmm.
the fortunate thing is that sometimes we do find ourselves sending a loan to a wholesaler because it fits that box. It fits, I mean, a wholesaler, because it fits that box. I can't see myself not utilizing
Yeah.
a lender because they're going to poach my client down the line, right? Like I can't, my interest is to give the client the best deal right now. And if that best deal right now may not be with a broker-friendly lender, uh, which it rarely happens, but it does happen where we have to use a non-friendly broker lender, then so be it. And then it's up to me to make sure to stay in front of the client for months and years to come, with emails, with letters, with calendars, and things of that nature, to stay
Yeah,
in front of the
that's
client to make sure I stay in front of them.
when that entire movement started a couple of years ago with Anthony Casa and all that about I was conflicted, and definitely a very 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 well supported of that idea of the bro movement and the hotel lending situation. But
Yeah,
like you
bro.
said, bro, yeah, but I'm conflicted because, like you said, I mean, sometimes I'm pretty much signed up with a lot of broker friendly or broker responsible lenders, but I have one or two, maybe three hotel lenders, whatever, that it just it's conflicted, but a lot of you get a lot of situations with a lot of different clients or different scenarios that do not fit the that particular lender's program or guidelines, that we had to send it to a situation
Right.
where it could possibly get marketed later on down the line. But we try to avoid those relationships, but it's difficult.
And the truth is, a lot of the wholesale lenders that are broker friendly end up selling their loans
To a
um,
servicer, huh?
to the lenders. And besides UWM, not a lot of other lenders have any non-soliciting agreements with their servicers. UWM, from what I know, is the only one. So when any of these other lenders sell their loans to Mr. Cooper or NewRez or Loan Care or one of these servicers, they are being solicited, even though I used a broker-friendly lender. The moral of the story is we, as brokers, have to have a system in place to stay in front of our clients.
And what are you
Till
what
this
are you
day,
using? What are you using right now? What system do you have in place after the closing?
dude, I have something that's really, really simple. It costs me absolutely nothing. I use mail merge. So we have a spreadsheet where we have all our clients, and we're able to have like a newsletter that we send out to our clients, and we use Outlook. There's no unsubscribe button or anything like that. The email goes out to the client. It's personalized to them, so it's not like a generic QC Lending William Caballero email. It's
Uh-huh.
personalized to them, to their property, and I stay in front of them that way. We also um, tend to make calls every 2 to 3 months just to see how they're doing. I'll send them a quick text message. Um, so those are the things we're doing. We don't have the fancy technologies. We try to keep it simple. Um, and it has worked for me, right? It has worked for me just
Yeah,
because of the
but
production
say
doing.
say hi, and possibly also ask them for a referral. Hey, do you know anybody that would like
Absolutely.
to refinance or purchase a home, and keep it
Absolutely.
like that every 6 months or so, at least maybe every year or so. So yeah, yeah, we have a system
Absolutely.
as well. We're using HomeBot. We upload the spreadsheet to their system, and so far pretty good. I like it. HomeBot
Yeah.
is pretty nice. William,
Yeah. I mean,
and
there's
what?
there's plenty of softwares out there.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And
top
but
of
but
mind. A bunch of
what I
bunch of
like
people.
about the way we do it, it gives me control of when I send it out. Because what happens is a lot of times these automatic systems send out communication to the client. The client calls you and you have no idea that something went out. So I like it because I'm sending it out. And if the client calls me, I know what I put in that newsletter, whether it's like market news about the local market, whether it's me partnering up with a realtor to send out some communication, whether it's talking about, spring cleaning or getting ready for the holidays. Don't forget to, change your filters every 3 months. It could be something silly. What I like for them to know is that they're going to see my name come up on their email. That's all I want. Even if they don't open their email, I just want when they go through the emails and they're looking at Macy's and they're looking at their Duke Power or electrical bill and their credit card come through, I want my name to come up as one of those senders. Whether they open it, whether it gets acknowledged, I just want that name to be there. So when they are thinking of refinancing or buying, or they know of someone, all they got to go is look at their email and just type in my name and it'll come right up. I care less if they open it. I would like for them to open it, but I just want to stay in front, right? Sometimes the information could be irrelevant to them, but I just want them to see my name, see my company logo. The more they see it, the more they're going to remember Um, a lot of times when I come across a client and I ask them, "Hey, you purchased a home before? I see it on your credit. Why didn't you use that guy? What happened?" "Oh man, I don't remember who it is." You know,
Hmm.
and it's a small industry, so a lot of times that person's still working exactly where they were working 2, 3 years ago, but they didn't stay in front of that person. They didn't, they didn't see their name enough. They didn't make a good enough impression during their first transaction that they didn't remember the second, whether it's good or bad, right? I
Gotcha.
think Donald Trump said it best. Even bad press is good press. So, just staying in front of that client is very important to what we do in residual production.
And what do you see coming up in the next? Obviously, the elections next week, but what do you see in the next 3 to 6 months? Maybe looking a little bit more, maybe towards the 12-month period. What do you see coming up? Rates continue being as low as they are. Apparently, they went low a little bit this week or last week. So,
Right.
what do you see in the next 3 to 6 months to a year? What do you think? Obviously, COVID and all these situations and the rates.
The consensus is that COVID is not really going to have a huge effect in our industry unless states and the country start to shut back down, which I don't see that happening regardless of who wins the election. I don't see us going backwards and shutting down. I know the COVID numbers are going up, but I don't see us shutting down. We're seeing maybe implementing certain things like maybe a mask mandate, but I don't see us shutting down. Now, if we do shut down, that could affect us again, right? The overlays come back, rates may remain the same, but lending is going to become a little bit harder again. With a lot of people coming out of forbearance, with a lot of evictions starting to happen back open, maybe the foreclosure rate might jump up a bit, which is going to be good for inventory. Not everybody lost their job.
Hmm.
Here in Charlotte and surrounding, our economy is strong. Our economy is thriving. Restaurants are packed, bars.
Do
You go
you
to the
guys
store.
have a very low inventory on properties on real estate?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We're maybe at 45 days, maximum 60. But
yeah,
most of the time we stay right around 45 days, which is, for every property out there, there's 14 buyers.
yeah.
That's the last numbers of our MLS, our local MLS release. That's 14 buyers for every one house in the market. It's absolutely insane. And you know, closing quickly, and the advantage of having a pre-approval versus a pre-qual. The advantage that a lot of my realtors have is that I typically get copied on the offer email. So I tell all my realtors, copy me on your offer email, because if the listing agent sees the loan officer replying to that email within minutes of being sent, not saying they're going to accept the offer because of me, but they're going to see like, wow, we got communication with the loan officer right away. And my response or my reply to that email is not, hey, I'm the loan officer. No, it's reiterating, hey, this person is pre-approved. I review credit, I review income, I review assets. The offer is as good to go. Give us a contract. We'll submit to underwriting, order appraisal, order title, and we'll have CTC in less than 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
you're reinforcing that pre-approval letter, so it's not on paper,
correct.
but the listing agent is saying, well, I'm getting outside of the pre-approval letter, I'm getting a response from the
Right.
loan officer on real
And
time,
then we
which is
and
pretty
then we
good.
have and then that same email, I'm already assuming that they're going to accept their offer. So I'm introducing my team. I'm introducing who the processor is going to be. I'm introducing my wife, who's going to be a huge point of contact for follow-ups and answering those questions. And also letting them know, hey, you're going to get automatic updates from us, whether there's something happening or nothing happening on the loan every Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesday will let you know what's going to happen in the week, and no one should go over the weekend not knowing what's going on with their mortgage, what's going on with their listing, what's going on with their buyer. So we send out updates every Tuesdays and Fridays to both the listing and the buyer's agent. Because one of the biggest complaints is communication, right? Oh, the loan officer doesn't communicate. My loan officer became an assembly line, meaning the client moves from loan officer processing and it just moves down the line, and you never hear from the original loan officer. So we send out emails every Tuesdays and Fridays. Even if I just sent out an update on Thursday, you'll still get that email on Friday letting you know what's going to happen and what we need over the weekend. If the client needs to work on something over the weekend, whether it's an updated pay stub, bank statement, transaction history, whatever it is, hey, you have the weekend, get this to me, and we'll touch base on Monday if we need to.
Excellent. So you had the process, you had your process figured out, completely figured out, and it goes as smoothly for you. And what do you see in terms of growing, in terms of maybe expanding or getting other license for other states? Is that your plans, future plans, or you just want to stay and grow inside your metro area, inside Charlotte?
No, we are in 8 different states. So I'm licensed in
Okay.
Florida, Maryland, Virginia, um, uh, uh, South Carolina, uh,
Okay.
California,
So
Oregon, Washington State.
you're multiple
So
states.
we have
Okay.
several. So we do business in Florida. I have a few realtors that I've reached out to in Florida. Larry, who's another loan officer in my team, has a lot of connections in Florida. Um, I recently got another loan officer that came on board. Her name is Denise. She's from Brazil, and she has a lot of Brazilian clients that are in Florida.
Hmm.
So we do business in Florida, same in Maryland. We do business in Maryland. I reach out to a lot of realtors. It's tougher when you're not in front of the realtor. It's tougher to when you're not directly in front of the client. It's a little bit tougher, but nevertheless, we'll still get it done. There are clients that feel comfortable with being in person,
Yeah.
but something that COVID has done is it has created an excuse not to meet in person.
Hmm.
So there's a lot more people learning how to use their phone to video chat. So it's a
Hmm.
lot easier for me to communicate with someone in another state because it's become normal to video chat. It's become normal to use Zoom. It's become the norm because of the circumstances that we're in. So, in our industry, that has become a big positive. So, because we are in COVID, it has created that
Yeah.
excuse like, hey, I can't meet in person, but let's video chat. And
Yeah.
video chatting has become a great tool that more and more people are starting to use. As even their kids are using it for to go into school. Both my kids go to school remotely through Zoom and Canvas and these other softwares that they use. So that has become a great tool for me to be able to do business in other states where we could Zoom conference call, and that has become the norm. Before it was the exception. Before it was like, oh, okay, we can do a video call. That's no big deal. We'll figure it out. And then when it came to it, they didn't want to. But with with COVID being around, it's become the norm. More and more businesses are doing it. More and more companies are doing it. We're doing it. We use Zoom and Team Viewer all the time. Uh,
Hmm.
so that's become a great tool to be able to do business outside of your area and still give that client that comfort level of actually seeing someone face to face.
Yeah, definitely. This is the year of the virtual office, virtual whatever, virtual communications, mobile, more nimble, more mobile, and you can do at least the mortgage part. Obviously, real estate, no, because real estate you have to go, knock on the door, show the property, open the properties, do the inspections with the clients. But at least the mortgage part, we're more mobile, more cloud based, more nimble, more virtual. So definitely. William, a couple of last few words, and where can people find you in North Carolina or find you wherever you are? What's your social medias and your phone number? So whoever is watching this, because on Morflix, it doesn't stop at loan offices or realtors. It's the entire. We don't have a firewall. Anybody, any user of the multiple applications can view this information and view the content on Morflix in all the apps. Where can they find you? And last few words for you.
They could go onto our website, qclending.com. My phone number is 704-806-4899. My email is really simple. It's william@qclending.com. So if there's anyone out there in any of the states that we're licensed in, interested in buying, purchasing, Any other if there's a retail loan officer looking to make a change into the broker world, we're always hiring. I honestly prefer to have someone that has no experience in the mortgage industry. I think a lot of retail loan officers come with a preconceived mentality of what it is to be a broker. Never been on that side of the retail world. All the loan officers that have come on board have been from other industries. They didn't come in as loan officers. They didn't transition from retail to broker. That's just my opinion. In the previous
I
jobs that I had in retail, I prefer someone that didn't have any retail experience, just had a good work ethic and had a good personality. Mortgages, we could teach mortgages. I could teach guidelines. I could teach processes. I can't teach a personality.
Yeah,
I really
correct.
can't. So,
Correct.
but yeah, I mean, QClending.com or William at QClending.com or 704-806-4899.
Excellent. My friend, this is William Caballero from North Carolina. Un amigo mío, para esto de español, un amigo mío de North Carolina, Mortgage Broker, y está en las redes sociales, lo tengo en Facebook. William, muchas gracias, ok. Thank you very much,
No,
William.
gracias a ti, Marvin, por tenerme.
Nos veremos prontito. Okay, this
Igual.
was Mortgage Talk Live on all Mortflix app. And keep watching. You can watch this recording on the pre-show and all the apps 24/7 on Mortflix.